Hey everyone, it's Synth Designer back again with another video. Today I want to talk about top loops in drums and kind of how to pick the right sounds for top loops to match the rhythm and the style of your song. If you're not familiar with top loops, it's essentially just a looped sample that plays alongside of your drum track. Now, I have this very basic drum track and song setup here. I'm going to play you just this first 4 bars, and then this is not going to include any of these loops. As you can see, I have 3 set up here, and then we're going to listen to just the drums to start off with, and then we're going to talk about these loops. So there's that very basic kind of setup here. This is kind of like, I guess, a point in the song where it's pretty established already. There's that little bit of a kind of melody there, and there's the bass line, a little bit of a drone here, and a pad. But most importantly here, let's take a look at this drum pattern here. So pretty simple, nice kind of up-tempo dance song here. And as you can see, we have the kick, the open hat, this snare here, this called snare alternative. It's kind of a clap, much wider, bigger, and I bring this in every other hit. Then we have this basic hi-hat, just playing every once in a while. And this little fill in here, it's kind of a different type of snare. So this is kind of a nice sound, but the important thing about loops is they offer kind of a variation on the rhythm, and it allows us to kind of get kind of a thicker, fuller sound, right? Rather than just having this basic drum sound, we have both of these together, and oftentimes you'll see producers layering a bunch of these to get a much fuller sound. And I'll show you this example here with this one. If we play these two together, you can hear how much fuller it is, right? Even if we were to take this down a notch and just like make it a little quieter, right? You can still hear it makes a huge difference here versus just the drums on their own here. So that is essentially the kind of purpose, is you're trying to get a little bit more of a filled sound, and I like to kind of use something with just some hi-hat loops, some shakers. Oftentimes there'll be loops as well with kind of a kick drum, but you don't want to be layering too many kick drums, so you'll have to kind of high pass that out, and that's also an option. But I kind of want to show you how I determine which kind of loops I want to use. In this case, I feel like it fits really well here, and I have 3 options I gave myself, and they all have certain qualities. So let's just listen all in a row to these, and then kind of talk about how they all work or don't work. And then I'm going to show you some other examples that don't work at all, and then we'll talk about those. So as you can hear, they all have kind of a different vibe to them, right? This one here, very kind of basic, just a nice little hi-hat loop. Let's just listen to these on their own, maybe. This one's got that nice swing to it. That nice kind of open hat coming up on the upbeat. Nice swing to this one, different hi-hat. Lot kind of mellower. And then this one here, you can hear a lot different. This has that kind of percussion hit to it as well. So it kind of matters what the vibe you want. Here, I am probably not leaning towards this one here, whereas this one I probably won't use. And then a trick I like to also play around with is just layering 2 at a time and seeing how those work together maybe. See, these really complement each other well because you're getting a little kind of like extra hit here and there, but the hi-hats are essentially hitting at the same time, even if they're a little bit different in tone. So let's just bring the drums back in. And remember, you don't have to have them this loud. You could have them a lot more subtle as well. But you can hear these really work together because they're not competing with each other. If I were to take maybe these two and see how these work together. I feel like things are getting a little bit messy here. And as you can see here, this one has a different rhythm to it just based on the loop here. So you can see these hats hitting just here, whereas in this one you could hear. Plus it has that percussive hit as well. So in this situation, I am probably not going to use this one. I had these 3 laid out as options because I felt like they might fit in. But you can hear this kind of muddles the sound a little bit, right? And really doesn't fit with the kind of straight line dance vibe that I had here. This has a kind of a specific rhythm to it that doesn't necessarily fit with this loop or with my current drums as well. And that is just kind of a trick or a tip. Kind of play them together and see how they all fit. And then that way you'll know if later in the song you want to add just 1 loop or 2, you'll know they work together no matter what. So just going quickly here, if I were to pick out a different loop here, so I'm going to go into my sample library here and pick drums, loops, and then obviously these are in a different time, but we can just play around and listen to some different ones. So as you can imagine, I doubt that this one works, but let's just see. So to change the tempo, of course, you're going to click Fit to Tempo, type in BPM, and since the BPM says 124 and this is 123.999, it's basically right, and it's going to line up for you. So let's just listen to how this sounds together with the loop. It's pretty much all over the place and doesn't work at all. Again, it's not lining up to not only the vibe of things, but also just the hits don't line up. So those are kind of just some things you want to think about of the simplicity of the rhythm and also where things hit. Here's another one that I don't think will work for a number of reasons. As you can hear, it has that kick in it. So let's go to Fit to Tempo again. Type in BPM. This is actually not as bad as I was thinking. Maybe a little loud, and I would take out that kick drum. It's really pumping up that kick drum, but this is actually not as bad as I was thinking here. It really changes the rhythm. It's kind of cool because those are just some of the experiments you should run. Like, I didn't think this would work, but once I line it up in the proper tempo, it sounds pretty good and the hits are right where I would like them. So experiment with things. If you have a loop library, go ahead and just layer some on and see how they fit in. Make sure you layer your top loops with each other and play them together and see how those work. So those are just a few tips that hopefully help you with your top loop game. Let me know down in the comments if you have any tricks you use for choosing top loops and what you think of this video. I always appreciate the feedback. And of course, like and subscribe if you like these videos. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you all next time.